Facebook on our page with group, you can sign up on a link there. If you sign up within the next 5 minutes, Bill back there, he's got a box of cookies for you. So some delicious Thin Mints. Okay. Yeah, they make you a little chubby, huh? Those are called Lion Mints. Hey, pull this paper out real quick. I wanted to show you this. I had a slide, but obviously technology wasn't in my favor today, so no big deal. But I wanted to give you guys some real concrete numbers. You know, why I came to Motto Mortgage, the main reason was being wholesale versus retail, okay? If you were going to go buy a nice sweater and you wanted to pay wholesale prices or retail prices, which one would you pay, right? But if you guys look at this sheet, this is pricing just from yesterday. The top one is a purchase, and the loan to value is at 80%. The FICO is at 780. Interest rates are driven by two things, loan to value and FICO, okay? If you guys want to understand that more, hit me up. I would love to talk to you, teach you about that. But the thing is, when we look at the pricing, this is a $500,000 purchase. The loan amount's $400,000. On the retail side, pricing starts at that 7.125. And if you see that payment, should have worn my glasses, $26.94. And then on the wholesale side with Motto, yesterday we were at a 6.375. Okay, so that's a difference in a payment of $199 a month. When you think about, when I'm talking to my clients about $199 a month, what would that do for them? Sometimes I actually had a girl I was talking to yesterday. She's like, I can't afford that. And then I said, hey, if we bought down your rate $100, she's like, okay, that makes more sense. $199 just from wholesale to retail. And when you look at the life of the loan, $71,000 just by using wholesaler. That to me is huge. That is, I used to be a teacher in my early career, but that's like two teacher salaries, $71,000 back in the day. My wife's a teacher, so I can say that. But the other one I want to look at is the cash out. This one, I got this quote yesterday and it blew me away. This is on the house was valued at $700,000. The loan's a little bit over $400,000, but the pricing on the retail side was 7.8. And look at the points. When I quote you, I will always I say this is at par, meaning there's no points to it. But pricing for retail was at 2.4. That's over $10,000 just to close that loan to get that interest rate. And then when you look at the Motto side, we were at a 7.2, and that's at par. So the difference in savings is $166 plus $10,000 that they're not paying in origination. And then you look at the total, the life of the loan is $59,000, and then you add that another $10,000 is $69,000. Guys, this is the difference between retail and wholesale. Okay, that's why I came over to Motto. I wanted to have better competitive pricing. Also, I've heard so many wonderful things about this team. You guys are awesome. I love working with you. You guys are doing a great job. Continue to pound the concrete. And thanks again. Sign up for our happy hour. And I would love to see you guys. That's today from 3 to 5 over at P83. The restaurant's on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Is some of that info helpful to you guys with everything going on out there? Yeah. All right. Jody, your turn. Come on up.
You know, Valentine's Day is one of my favorite holidays.
Need me to hold something for you?
Yes, please.
Right.
Okay. Oh yeah. Anybody? Quickly. So every year I have done the same thing, and that is for Valentine's Day. I know that everyone is super busy. You're pounding the pavement. You're working 7 days a week. So I try to make sure that your loved ones still feel special with how busy you guys are. So what I have done is I have a $100 gift card for Fogo de Chao. I don't know if anybody has ever been there. So Fogo de Chao is a Brazilian steakhouse in Scottsdale. It's amazing. I've made a reservation for Valentine's Day at 4:15 p.m. I've got your bottle of Prosecco here. It's a really pretty bottle. That's why I bought it. I don't know how it tastes. And then on Valentine's Day, I would love it if you would stop by my office, and I'm going to have a bouquet of flowers for you to give your loved one. So basic gist of this is I make sure that you're taken care of, whether it be your personal life or in your real estate transactions. I make sure that from A to Z, I've got your back and I've got you covered. So anybody that has not had the opportunity to work with me, I am asking you again for your business. I will make sure that you are taken care of. I will make sure your clients are taken care of. So that is my little thing. So here is our raffle. You go for it, Michael. You pick.
And let me say how many additional cards went into this basket after the Prosecco came out. So I see you. Danielle Martinez. So it'll be nice. So a nice quiet evening. All right. And then we've got one item from Motto as well. What do you have for us, Brian?
This is a coffee cup, and it's a football coffee cup for in honor of the Super Bowl. Did you guys' team make the Super Bowl? And on top of it is a bunt cake. Delicious.
Okay, here we go. We got Leslie Howard. All right. So now that everyone's perked up a little bit, you're paying attention with the alcohol and sugar being given out. We'll jump into some other things. Again, we like to have some positivity out there. We all know been a little bit of a challenging market recently, but guess what? We're used to changes, right? This is just another one of them. That being said, if you can't see it, this red bar here, Remax Professionals, this is looking at month of January and just comparing our transactions per agent to a lot of our other competitors in the market here. And as per usual, you guys continue to outperform the market. So yeah, we have seen that downturn as well, like our volume's down, that sort of thing, but we're still outperforming the other folks. And again, I've been here almost 18 years now, and I've seen this every time there's some sort of big shift or even little ones. It's what we're doing here, being in this room, sharing things, collaborating, etc., and some more stuff with like Max Tech platform coming up in a minute here. That really keeps us ahead of the crowd. So this is great stuff. Keep doing what you're doing, and let's do even more. Along with that, Remax, if you didn't see the announcement, I think it was just yesterday, is once again voted the most trusted real estate agents in the United States and Canada. So again, another advantage for you guys to lean on. Of course, that's included in the Remax marketing and those kind of things. But if you haven't seen that yet, if you haven't, sent something out with that, or even just, commented, humble bragging, off one of the Remax posts, something like that, you guys deserve it. You're fantastic. All right, a couple of quick reminders / announcements here before we're into our other information. Obviously, R4 is coming up. By popular demand, we're going to do our how to get the most out of R4 meeting. We've done that in the years past, especially for newer folks coming in that haven't gone to R4 before, or if you just haven't been yourself for a little while. It's great to kind of talk through some strategies on how to really make the most of that. Nate, anything you want to throw in on that?
No, just we have over 30 people signed up to go from our office. It's probably one of the highest in the country when you have ratio between the amount of agents and the amount of people going. So I'm really proud that you're going. We were just informed yesterday in an email, don't really have all the details, but for the first time ever, Remax is allowing Remax agents to bring a friend. And I don't know what that means yet, but you can sign up and they can come to the convention. And before, they would never let anybody outside the convention unless they were a recruit. So if you have a friend that loves conventions, like to have a good time in Vegas, maybe they fall in love with the Remax system and join. So more information will be coming out about that as we know it. So I know right now, I think the registration for Remax is $799. I believe since you're with Remax Professionals, you get $100 off. And because we're good guys, they like us. So smart people bought their tickets in October or November. I think they paid $399 or $499, like a concert ticket. Anybody try to buy a Super Bowl ticket lately? They're crazy. Hey, real quick, I just looked at Marion and it just reminded me, We had a dear friend of the real estate industry pass recently, and this woman, when I got in the real estate business back in 1986, was one of those shining stars. Okay, she was the national president of the Women's Council of Realtors. She was also probably the state president as well. She was a CRS president of Arizona when I was getting my CRS, and she kind of took me under her wing. And a few years later, I was the president of CRS. So Sheila Espinoza, many of you know her, many of you don't. But she was a RE/MAX professional agent. Before she was a RE/MAX professionals agent, she was a RE/MAX. Forget the name of the brokerage with Mr. Johnson. RE/MAX. Okay, cool. But you know, she lives right here in Westbrook Village. She was once she left RE/MAX, she went into the Referral Pros network that we have, and just an awesome lady. So just if you know her, I'm sure there'll be some services, but she was just an amazing woman and super sad right now.
So as we get some additional information, we'll make sure we share that with y'all. And I think, Marion, you said Larry is what, 96 now? Yeah. So yeah, again, I'm sure if we can show him some love, that would not be a bad thing right now. Okay, so moving on with R4. As I mentioned, we'll do that like tips, tricks, how to get the most out of it thing. So look for the information on that. One of the most liked tricks from last time we did that, or tips rather, that came out of it, just FYI, was bring your most comfortable shoes. So, you know, okay, good one to know. Another one real quick, this was just published. So it's the new R4 app. If you haven't grabbed this already, do so. And start planning your convention experience right now. It's got tons of information, the new scheduler in there, so you can figure out what sessions you're going to, what social events, all those things, you know, see what's available if you have some free time in your schedule, all that kind of stuff. It's great. And it'll help you navigate, help you connect with people, those kind of things. So absolutely worth it. All right, everyone's got the QR codes. All right. All right, and Sarah's got a fantastic class coming up February 23rd. As we all know, we're back in, you know, from a hot market to what kind of market? Oh, fantastic. I like that. I like that. The word I was looking for is skilled, but fantastic. That'll work. So, of course, a lot of skill in this room, but, you know, a really big indicator that we're seeing is, you know, just the fact that the agents that have been simply putting a home in the MLS and thinking, great, I've got a sale. Well, they don't anymore, right? All y'all know how to market things, but if we get together and actually do that brainstorming, see what's working right now, we always come out with, you know, more and more great stuff. And Sarah's incredible with this, obviously, you know, national coach as well. So she's get that crowdsourced info from a lot of other places. So that's a kind of an open forum there, a mastermind, more information coming out on that, but February 23rd, be there.
If you go to the Facebook group that we have, the Inner Circle, you'll see some information that I copied and pasted from the Cromford report, showing that since 2000, I think it was 2000, year 2000, 23 years ago, when Cromford report started really doing detailed information on our market, we've never had a buyer's market that was as short as it was. So they said November and December was a buyer's market across the valley, except for the northeast, like up in North Scottsdale. It's already shifted back to a balanced market in almost every city, except for a few cities on the outlying areas. So the market has shifted already. So we know we have buyers that keep saying, well, we're going to wait for interest rates to go to 3%. We're going to wait for the market to crash. We have, how many people have clients that are waiting for the market to crash, right? You need to know what to say to them, right? So we have a lot of scripts and dialogues on the shift program through Workman that we'll start getting out to you. Sarah and I are going to record some videos today, but we need to know how to conquer all the objections that are coming at us. If you go to FreddieMac.com and look at interest rates going all the way back to 1973, the amount of time the interest rates were in the 3% was about an 18-month window in 45 years, right? So the chances of it going back 3%, probably not going to happen, right? And the average over the time is north of 5%. So, you know, this is a good market. Have that mindset. Make sure that you're taking that type of data, you know, so there's a blurb in there for sellers and a blurb in there for buyers, and that might help you understand what's going on in the market. So
Excellent. Yeah, some really good value there. And again, knowing those stats is another way you guys set yourselves apart. You know, there's so many people, so many other agents out there, even ones that aren't that green that have just been doing this a while, but just aren't paying that much attention. It's incredible the lack of knowledge that's out there. So again, keep yourselves informed and educate others. Real quick here, next week, February 8th, Alex has another great class coming up on the Max Tech platform powered by kvCORE. Obviously, we're touching on some big pieces of that today. So this will be a great follow-up for you, either if you're not able to jump in, or if you start working on that over this next week here, as we're going to talk about. This is another great way to just continue on that and get some follow-up, additional support, whatever you may need. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. And then just a quick reminder that when we're done here today, we're going to continue on into a mastermind. Today, it's going to be primarily focused on that new platform and making the most use of that, getting onboarded quickly, that sort of thing. But stick around if you can for that. One last thing I'll mention before Jody and Shannon get up here is just that Voss team on February 14th, Valentine's Day, is doing a blood drive at the Arrowhead North office. So you'll see more information, of course, coming out on that. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that might be a fun Valentine's activity to, you know, start with. And Danielle, you guys like to be at home, right? Like you just said. So yeah, come out, give blood, get home, drink some of that Prosecco you just won. It'll be a fun evening. Roberta, here, let me get you the well, yeah, but no, after you donate, not before.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know, Janae does have the sign up forms if anybody wants to set their appointment.
Excellent. Okay, so we can pass those out as well. All right, Jody, Shannon, come on up.
Good morning. Jody wore her tall shoes and I did not, so I'm gonna stand over here. They get me in trouble though. And she's already taller than me. So this morning I brought Jody up for my broker portion because I want to talk about something that I'm hearing about continuously, and it's getting more and more local and happening more frequently. So, and it's deed fraud and what we're seeing in the market. And I will tell you, just to give you an example, and I'll go through this a little bit deeper, but in one part of the nation, they had 10 claims in 1 week because this is happening everywhere. Locally, I know one attorney who had 6 in 1 week, just in the last 2 weeks, by the way, and another one who had at least, I think she said 2 or 3 that she got calls on. And here's what's happening. Vacant homes and vacant land tend to be the most commonly targeted for this kind of fraud. And what these people are doing is they are finding deeds. They are recording a new deed to themselves. They're forging. It's too early. I need more coffee. They are forging the old owner's name. The old owner, of course, is usually out of state or not checking up on their vacant land every month, you know, to check and see what's been recorded against it. And then they're contacting an agent to list it and sell it. They sell it. And now we have a buyer who has purchased something that the seller never owned. We have an owner on the first part who doesn't even know their property is gone and sold to somebody else. And you have that middle guy who committed this fraud, long gone, nobody knows who they are. And here's how they're getting really good at this. They're contacting you and they're saying the seller, the fraudster, let's say, is out of state. They have their own notary, red flag, or if you look in the tax records and you look up, or in the assessor site, look up the recorded deed, you'll see that it was uninsured by a title company. And here's the challenge that happens other than that whole mess. When you get homeowner's title policy, it's for when I own it backwards, clear title to me. So now when that fraud happens forward, you may or may not have insurance covering that because the middle person is the one who committed that. Does that make sense? So you have insurance is not always covering this. Now, what I'm going to have Jody talk about her side of it is what insurance does cover something like that potentially. But the tips to you guys are to check your deeds if you get that listing call, or if you're even on the buying side, making sure that, you know, that the seller actually owns the property. Check the tax records, check the deed that was recorded, confirm that it was actually an insured recorded deed from a title company.
If it was done within the last year, I would say that's a red flag. If it was just recently changed hands. What are the other, they said there was some other things we should look for.
The uninsured deed.
The uninsured deed is the biggest.
The biggest one.
Yeah.
Is the big one.
Or if they're out of state, or they only want to communicate through WhatsApp and they have their own notary all the time. You guys, fraud is bad right now across the country, and they're trying to do things about this, but we need to make sure that our clients who own properties like this are aware of this so that they can be checking on a monthly basis and see something sooner than losing the property. And we need to be on our buyer side and our listing side, making sure that the person who's approaching us actually owns the property and they are who they say they are, because they're creating fake IDs. I mean, they're very good at this and they look very real. So
Perfect example, our East Valley office that I actually used to work at, they actually just had this 2 weeks ago. We just dealt with deed fraud. So what had happened was the seller lived in Tucson, had the perfect IDs, had everything in order, said, I'm the seller, no liens on the property, sold the property through a transaction. The buyer has the house, living in the home. Knock, knock. What are you doing in my house? We get a phone call. Title insurance claim is now in full effect. So that's a great one as well, is where it's unfortunately, it's easy for people to do that. It's easy for people to get a fake ID. It's easy for people to say, I own this property. How we as a title company handle that situation is, yes, we did have to file a claim against the title insurance. We had to pay out the true seller of the home. Fortunately, he was willing to do it. So we had to pay him out and do a whole new transaction to the buyer. So just simple. That one hit really close to home for me because that was my office, my old office. So how to prevent it as a title company and what we insure as a title company. So like Shannon was saying, if a deed is recorded and they are now the owners of that property and they're listing it with you and you're coming to me to do a escrow, and I see that that deed was not insured, I cannot close on that transaction until I have a signature in front of a notary for an affidavit of uninsured deed from the original seller. So that is the main way that we prevent that. People will get mad at me because they're like, well, I bought this from my friend. He lives in New Mexico. It's hard for me to get a hold of him. I'm so sorry, but this is a liability and I have to have this signed. 99% of the time it's done. No problems, no headaches. So that is a major way that we are able to prevent it from going any further. Yes, Cindy? When our deeds are pulled, how can you tell if a deed has been insured or not? So when we do our title search, when the deed comes in, if there is no title company on that deed, a name of a title company, then that is considered an uninsured deed. It will only have the name of the seller, the name of the buyer on there. That is how you know if it's an uninsured deed or not. So a lot of times you'll see them when it's from a trust, right? So it's from an individual over to their trust. You're going to see that there's not going to be title insurance on that. But again, that's us knowing, okay, the trustees are the same people as the trust, and we need the certificate of trust to make sure. Roberta?
So how do we advise our clients to protect themselves? We see on Sunday morning infomercial, LifeLock, trying to get people to pay them lots of money to deal with this horrible, awful situation. So I guess what's really the prevalence and how do we actually advise our clients to protect themselves?
So I will say on LifeLock, and you might have a different opinion on LifeLock. Yeah, it's a great thing, but it's also not a great thing because it's already happened. The transfer has already happened. The deed has already been recorded. Yes, you're going to catch it, but you're still going to have to go through the whole process of trying to get your home back. So that's one of the issues that we see with the LifeLock of the deed insurance is it's already done. So they're still having to do it. Yep. LifeLock does not have an
No,
insurance
I don't
policy.
think so.
They are only, it's like Credit Karma. They're only monitoring it. They're not insuring it.
Right. There is insurance. So there is, even though typically those homeowners policies don't cover forward, the First American Eagle policy does. It has a fraud and forgery component in their policy. So that helps. And you guys underwrite with First American.
We do.
correct?
We underwrite with
So
them.
typically that's the policy that's issued, but not all the time. And particularly in land transactions, you just upgraded one, make sure your buyers upgraded one. If, and they know they have that coverage, and for your sellers, you know, they're already past that. I don't think they can add it once they've,
No.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
So that would be the trick for the buyer side to protect them as a new owner. It's called an
Eagles.
Eagle title policy. It's just kind of an extended title policy, if you will. And it's normally issued. Vacant land ones, not always, you know.
No, vacant land is always a standard policy that we
Yeah.
issue unless a request has been
Yeah.
in place to upgrade it to an Eagle policy. So I will just tell you, so my sister, she owns a lot of homes in around the country, and she's too busy for herself. And so she doesn't pay attention to these homes that she has. And I called her last night because she's off, you know, wandering the country. I called her and I said, hey, Tammy, you have all of these homes. None of them have any liens on them. You can be without a tenant for months. Nobody's checking on your home. I go, do you realize how susceptible you are to deed fraud? She had no idea. She's like, what is that? You know, I said, so for her, and this it could be something that you could talk to your clients about. So what we're doing when she gets back is I'm doing a blanket deed of trust. So I am having her trust that owns all of the homes. I'm having her trust put a blanket deed of trust on every one of her homes for $1 million. If somebody goes to try to sell that house through deed fraud, we as a title company are going to see this deed of trust on there, and we're going to say we need a payoff. We're calling up the, you know, the creditor, AKA my sister, saying we need a payoff. That is one way that I can see, especially if you have people that own several homes, to prevent that's extra. It's just that extra protection for them is obviously there's no money involved, you know, but at least that's going to protect her if somebody tries to go sell one of her houses. And we have that happen a lot where lenders or homeowners will have a policy, a deed of trust on their home. And they're like, oh, there's nothing owed on it. We just put it on there for protection. So, that is one way to protect somebody, is to have that policy or that deed of trust on your home.
And just to wrap this piece up really quick is that we do have an opportunity to potentially bring one of those attorneys I mentioned in. She has a CE class that she's submitted to ADRE that's finally gotten approved, that she teaches all about deed fraud for 3 hours and talks about it. So we are going to work on, Jody said she'd be willing to potentially sponsor. Thank you to Title Alliance professionals. But we are looking to hopefully get that for you guys.
And I will say, like, we personally know this person very well.
Yeah, she's great.
She is amazing. She is going to keep you intrigued
Yeah.
for that 3 hours
Your head
on
will be
something.
swimming,
Yeah.
for
You know,
sure.
you're thinking, oh, 3 hours worth of deed fraud. How she will keep you intrigued that entire time.
How to protect everybody. All right. Quick question, Danielle. Faster. Thank you, Danielle.
So that fraudulent seller came in with their own IDs. Title said, okay, they notarized it, and then they just disappeared. There was no recourse against that middle person?
So of course we're trying, we have attorneys trying to get that middle person that signed it. We're trying to get them, but they met at a Starbucks.
Okay.
It's so the no.
'Cause I'm thinking it'd be easy to do if it was not through escrow. If somebody just like investor to investor, like we just talked about. Like I could see that happening.
Correct.
But in the title company, that's pretty. Well, in
Well,
their
for
office.
ours, there was.
But when they're selling it through title.
Yeah.
They had IDs.
Yes.
And so they closed it.
Yeah.
Right?
So for in our situation, it was through us. We had the proper identification. So that's the thing. If I'm trying not to help anybody to commit defraud here, but honestly, when we're selling a home, there's no social security numbers on any of these documents. There's absolutely none. When I look at a title commitment that is a free and clear title, there's like 3 items on there. It's you have to pay your taxes, no liens, and give me the marital status of the buyers. That's all we're going off of. So we do send our pre-closing package and we ask a bunch of questions, names, dates of birth, social security numbers, things like that. But there's absolutely nothing as a title company that we can cross-reference to make sure that seller who's saying is actually really John Doe. And that's one of those situations where we just have to go by gut. Like I know right now, Shannon and I are kind of in one where we're going by our gut, where we just have a feeling that maybe something's going on. And so we're taking way extra precautions. And again, I've been doing this a long time. I kind of see, notice the red flags. Am I ever going to send documents to somebody and say, don't worry, I'm going to get them notarized myself? No, I'm not doing that. But again, it's just, we're in a world where we also need your guys' help. We need you to meet with them and I feel super comfortable with like Remax, but like this one that Shannon and I are dealing with right now, it's a broker owner. His business is out of his house. It's a deal for him.
We're not sure that the owner actually owns the property.
Yeah.
Just for what it's worth.
So do you think most title companies are doing the extra steps like you're explaining to us and asking for the signatures and things like that?
I think they're starting to.
The bigger ones in particular are on high alert. First American, Stewart, the bigger, lawyers, the bigger companies that way, they are, because they're seeing so much of it just based on the volume that they do. So I think so, yes. I can't answer for all of them, obviously, but I know First American has been in a meeting I was in recently about this entire subject, and they are all being briefed on it and what they need to do and what they need to check and all of that. So
I was just thinking that's probably another good reason that we can tell our clients, another good reason we should use Title Alliance.
Well, and I will say just one other quick thing that we have now started a process in our within Title Alliance within our company wide is if there is a property that does not have a lien on it, a letter is being certified mail to the property address. And if it's a different address on tax records for their tax bill to go to, we're also sending a letter to that address saying your property is in escrow. Your closing date is scheduled for such and such date. If please contact our office immediately. It's a long, but the gist of it is please contact our office immediately. Not please contact us if you're not in escrow. It's please contact our office immediately. So those are letters that we're sending out on every file that has no liens on it. Just another extra layer of precaution that we're using to make sure that the person is who they actually say they are. And that's why we're sending it to the property address and also to the mailing address.
But if I have a client that notices that their property is now shown in the ownership of ABC LLC, what's their recourse? A quiet title action? What are they? Is that what they have to do?
yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Yes. And it's have them call an attorney as soon as humanly possible and get working on it. Because it takes a lot of time for those quiet title and it.
If you're going to commit fraud, you're going to sell the property. Once ABC LLC takes title, they're going to sell it to somebody else on a too good to be true deal. And that transaction is not going to be insured. So you're going to have layers to unravel. So there will never be a search to find out if there was $1 million blanket deed of trust, because it will just keep transferring
Not
out of
necessarily.
escrow.
Not necessarily. If there was that blanket $1 million deed of trust and that was not released, we're going to find it. And I don't know on that one. That's a class question.
You're going deep on us.
Yeah, way deeper.
Why is this only for free and clear? If there was a lien, wouldn't you just pay the lien off too?
Typically, the liens are, well, to pay off
There-
a lien, we have to have social security numbers for the clients.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we do when we do our title search, we not only run the property address, but we also run the client's information. So that's been a lot bigger issue recently. It seems like there really a lot more names that are more common now. So like if I'm running a title search, I'm not only running the property address, but then I'm also running Jason Lee. And anybody that has the name Jason Lee, if there are any judgments against him, those are pulling to my title commitment and I'm having to cross-reference to remove those liens. So that's when we need social security numbers, dates of birth, things like that. So if that ever happened, if, we go and the property was free and clear and there was a lien by Jason Lee, and he can't give me that social security number, that's going to be a concern. Like that's a red flag for us.
I know,
Come to class.
but
Just come.
sorry, but it seems to me maybe if there was an advisement that we have our clients put the property into a trust, that would maybe be a layer of protection, because don't you need the authorizing documents to show that whoever the trustee is
Yeah,
can
you have to
sell
have
the property?
Yeah, you have to have a certificate of trust. I can't close on a property that it's the seller without a certificate of trust.
So that might be a suggestion to those who can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Get legal advice on that.
Yeah.
And-
I know a trust attorney.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right, everybody good. We'll get dates out to you. We'll try to get that scheduled right away for that class and we'll do a little deeper dive, but it's just something to definitely be aware of for in the immediate. I'm going to try to breeze through these last couple of things really quick, you guys. Last week on my broker blast, I mentioned the BINSR requests. And in the past, prior to the BINSR changing, when you guys had that request, I had, told you the advice was to do the item you're disapproving, or the buyer would accept a credit in lieu of. Now that the form has changed and the seller and they actually have the opportunity to correct or address, what you need to be very clear is it's one request. It's here's the item disapproved, and to get me to approve, for lack of a better way, this item, here's what I want. Fixed or completely separate. Did I go out? Just be very clear on what you're requesting and that you're only requesting either a credit or the thing to be repaired. Because what you don't want is this, if you put or, for example, the seller, then how do they answer? If they say yes, are they giving a credit and repairing it? Do you see where I'm going with this? So it can get a little muddy. So just make sure it's clear. That's my biggest thing. There is a new fair housing advisory. There is a new SPUDS that started yesterday. So we've talked about this before. And Sky Slope forms are finally live. Our RE/MAX Professionals broker library is in Sky Slope forms. Yay! It just went live, so I'm just kind of getting through it. I do see some things that I'm not, it's a little confusing on the affiliated business disclosure. So you'll see it in there several times. I'm going to get that corrected. It needs to be updated, that form anyway, now that we have the change from OneGuard to American Home Shield. So I need to update that entirely. So it's fine what you're using for now, but just to keep an eye out. NAR DOJ settlement, if you don't know about that, that was a huge win for the industry in terms of the antitrust suit and settlement that was going on. So just know that that was a really big thing, and it hopefully will help in those class action suits that I've mentioned to you guys that have been going on for all this time. But the judge finally said NAR that had countersued the Department of Justice, and they were able to win on that. They may appeal it, but at the moment that was a big win. So just know that's good news. Yes. That was one of the class action suits. It's a different one. Yeah. But that helps all of those that are going on in the background. Armless, just as a quick update, CurbView will be the new program that's going to be replacing Monsoon as it phases out. It's going to be a little bit of I hear it could be like a year or something. It's going to be a while, but that is, so if you wanted to go check out the new program and see, I get the impression it's similar to like an RPR type of program, if you've ever used that one. And speaking of Monsoon, just as a quick note for anybody that was having that printer issue where it was printing like 2,000 pages after you printed a tax record, it's, yeah, it's Chrome. If you use the Chrome browser, that's where that's happening, and they're trying to get that fixed, but so just use a different internet browser if you're printing from Monsoon, and you won't have that issue, or shouldn't have it. Another quick note, Sun City Grand, you guys, this was brought to my attention, I didn't realize, but Sun City Grand has changed their name to the Grand. Didn't change the subdivision legal name. So in terms of searching and that sort of thing, that will all remain the same, but the HOA and the marketing name is now just the Grand, apparently trying to distance themselves or something from Sun City a little bit. We just as a side note, we do have a new commissioner incoming. We don't know who it is yet. Our previous commissioner, Louis DeTore, that we all loved, was released as of the 20th of January. And we're not sure who it's going to be yet. So the verdict's out on that. We'll see what happens. And then just a note, you guys, we had a situation recently, and I just want to share with you, we all know when we've been in those situations, and we talk about this all the time about just be nice to each other out there, where we had an agent who was very antagonistic, who I felt like, and Nate felt like, and we as a team felt like wasn't representing our company in a good light. And we did reintroduce that person to the market, if you will, because my point in sharing this is that we want people to represent us the way we want to be represented. We want nice agents. We want people who are going to be nice to professionals. Yes. And so I just wanted to share that because I know you deal with it on the other side a lot, but just know that that's a core value of ours in a big way. So I just wanted to share that and just be nice to each other out there, because it's tense. People get grumpy. It's difficult. We have inexperienced agents we deal with all the time, and you know how difficult that can be. So, just have some grace, be nice. And that's it, you guys. If you have questions on the deed fraud, feel free to come see me, or any of the Sky Slope forms, feel free to come see me. Thanks, guys.
No comments on that, Cindy. You can figure it out. All right. So good information there as always. It's an ever more interesting market, isn't it? All right. So Max Tech powered by kvCORE. There's some fantastic stuff. Alex talked about that a bit last month as well. A few highlights, those kind of things. Who is, how about this? I'll start with this. Who is interested in this platform? Who's excited about this platform? Oh, wow. Look at that. The crowd goes wild. All right, cool. So I'm going to have Alex come up here. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we're going to roll this into an extended kind of mastermind thing here so we can go deeper on some of these things. But basically, all I'm going to say before I hand it over is that I think we mentioned previously that this was originally slated for Rella over here, like mid to end of Q2. Everything has been ahead of schedule, going very, very smoothly. There's been a whole lot of time spent on the back end with Alex, a few other people here, Nate's team as well, as kind of guinea pigs, that sort of thing. And, it's great to be able to say that we're live. It's good to go. So, yeah, it's all great stuff. So I'm going to hand it over to Alex. He's going to run through some additional highlights, some other cool features we've seen as we've been able to get in there and really see how it's working, that kind of stuff. Hopefully really show you why you definitely do want to jump in here. I'll mention, like, we spent a couple of hours with one of our reps yesterday, and he was already sharing some really great stuff about how to get some great re-engagement with like your past client database, things like that too. So again, this is not just about maintaining, this is about growing and excelling moving forward. It's amazing stuff. Alex.
And thank you. And as he mentioned, we are live. So actually right now, anybody that's got their phones, you should have gotten an email that says that you now officially have access. So I sent that out right before I walked up here. So anybody after this can go and click on the Max Tech tile in your Max Center or follow the instructions on that email. It's pretty easy to get started. I'm going to run through some kind of highlights. There is so much with this program. That's really the easiest way that I can explain it. I'm not going to go too deep right now because there's just so much going on with it, but it's all in a great way. There's I mean, there's lead vetting, there's websites that are all built in with IDX, there's smart campaigns, there's integrations with SkySlope, transaction desk. There's pretty much anything that you can think of and that you've been wanting that Boosh did not deliver. This is delivering. So just look at it right now. I mentioned some of the highlights. So right off the bat, we already have everything up on the core platform, core present, and then coming up is the core listing machine. So that is coming up, or the design center and listing machine, but everything with the CMA presentations, IDX website, and everything that I mentioned is already live. You guys already have fully built out IDX websites that you can access. It's already set to your smart CRM, and it's already got custom branding. You can send CMAs to your CRM that's already uploaded. You should already have contacts within your CRM in kvCORE right now. So literally, you guys are off to the races already. Like I mentioned, there's just some of the integrations that are available. If you've got BombBomb, there's BombBomb integration. If you've got coaching, you can do it. You can add your Facebook AI advertising tokens. You can integrate your Google into it. You can do voicemail drops. I've mentioned before that there's voicemail and text drip campaigns. So you can add all that. Really, whatever you can think of it, anything that you currently use, there's probably a way to integrate it. Like I said, there's SkySlope, and they're pretty easy to do. All you'll have to click is that learn more button. And then there's usually just a step or two, and it'll tell you where to find the key to integrate it and all that type of stuff. This is the analytics, I believe. Yeah, so this is actually, you're going to have a boatload of analytics that you haven't had before. This is everything from people looking at your properties, which ones are popular, where they're going to be, where they're finding it, what they've gotten from it, what they've gotten emailed. If you've ever been looking for a program or wanting more information about what your clients are wanting and doing, this is absolutely delivering that for you. And this is kind of an example of what an actual contact will look like. So this is Wendy Stewart. You can't see all of it, but they've run validation on it. We've seen who's called them. It's got everything from every interaction that they've ever done on your smart CRM to all the lead vetting and all the validation that it's done that shows their social medias. It shows their email. It shows everything that they've done on the past, and you're able to share them. There's a pipeline up at the top that's really great. That moves from here to a prospect. It's currently an active lead for them. Then it'll move into client. And again, there's a ton of automation with this. So if they're an active lead, they're already on a drip campaign. They're already getting emails from the system. And this is actually a daily email that you can get. So it's not just a reminder. It's actually a ton of data that you can use, that you can look at how many people you're getting, how many calls you should be doing. So this is a great way to optimize what your day-to-day is going to be, maybe what your schedule should be for that day. And it's already automatically sent to you via your email. Neat.
So on this page here, your first one's probably, how many people got this? Let me see. Okay. It's going to show all your leads that came in imported from Boosh. Okay. And then I think it defaults to 10 phone calls a day. So it'll show you who to call for those 10 days. We've been spending a couple of days trying to figure out how to manipulate this information, right? Because they're not all leads, right? But they are your past client database. So that's something we'll talk about further, but look for this thing coming through. It'll come to you every single day. You can set the time you want it delivered. You can set the amount of calls you want it to prompt you to call on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I mentioned a lot of the automated factors of kvCORE. There's everything from phone prompts to reminders to automated tasks that you should do. You can also control that. So if you feel like maybe the system's yelling at you too much, don't worry, we can tell it to calm down.
And one great thing about this, like Alex just mentioned, because of all that automation happening in the background, and again, the reason this isn't just like, hey, here's the same thing you can see 12 other places. If this is seeing those changes, those other activities that clients are doing, this email will float different things to the top too. You know, so there may be a client on there that was not on your list to call this week, but the system says, gee, they just did all this, they changed their saved searches, that kind of stuff. This is one of the places that's going to float it to the top to let you know, hey, you might want to, jump forward. So again, it's not just reminders. It's information that you can act on.
Correct. It's fully integrated into your smart CRM. So that's going to be constantly changing and updating itself with everything that it's sending out for validation, as well as searches that people are making, properties that they're looking at, all that type of stuff. So it feeds into this. So it's more than just an email from like the last day. It's an update of what you have going on in your CRM right now. And this is the smart campaign library. So it's just kind of an example of it. You can't see them super well, but there's default close, buyers. It'll show you how many channels they're for, who they're set up for, when it starts with them. And then you can click on them and control them fully in every way. Similar to Bouge, everything's already gonna be made for you. So you don't have to touch a single thing if you don't want to, or you can go in and change every single thing about it that you want. You can change pictures. You can change the automation. You can change the triggers for them, as well as what kind of tasks it's putting for you. Again, if you want it to be reminding you and to be doing a lot of the work for you, it can. If you want it to calm down, it's always okay to do that. You had a question? Yeah, what's up?
When you do your class, are you going to go in and show how to change pictures? Because I was in there yesterday trying to figure that out and I could not see where to add or change photos in
Yes.
the campaign.
So I have lots of classes coming up. This is going to be my focus, obviously, for a while. It's still new, so some things are still flipping over. We are one of, if not the first brokerage in the country to actually officially do flip. So we're working our way through it and kind of finding anything that needs to be fine-tuned and all that type of stuff. But I will be doing lots of classes on it. You guys can obviously reach out for anything.
Also, Remax International's training, they have literally hundreds of videos on there.
Mhm.
And kvCORE does as well. One of the interesting things is as you go through, and I think Alex is going to point it out, it's going to prompt you with videos and tell you how to do it. When I was going through it, I would stop the video, I go do some work, come back, finish the video, or rewind the video because I'm dense. I have to listen to it a couple times. So it's really easy.
Yeah, when you first go into it, you might get a little overwhelmed just because there's so much information right off the bat for you, and there's so many different options. But everything on the left and on the menu is really actually pretty easy to use. There's a launch checklist that we're going to go over in a little bit. That you'll just follow it along. It'll help you get started with everything. And then there's a button right there that'll show you training videos, and you're always able to contact them for anything that they need. They're actually probably more collaborative than even Remax and Bouge were. So there's no shortage of places that you can get information from, either me or any of the videos. But I'm absolutely going to be helping with hands-on, and we're going to have a lot of opportunities to play around with everything. So as we mentioned, all of those apps and programs and everything, it's also all in an amazing app that you can download. And it will go right to your phone. It has most of the functionality. You've actually been playing around with the app more than I have. Do you have any insights onto it?
Well, I tested it yesterday doing a boost, and at 6 o'clock this morning, I got a lead, and it looks like 2 hours ago, I got another lead coming off the house that I boosted for an open house. So just testing it out, but the interaction's there, and I can just call him right now.
And if he's already gotten those 2 leads, those are 2 active, good leads that he can call, and we'll have a phone number attached to it. No more of the Google WhatsApp. No more of the spammy calls. Yeah. So it's already been vetted and added to a system, and they've already checked it out, validated it, looked at what the property was, all that stuff.
Yeah. One thing the system does, it asks them to put in their email to get information, does not ask them for their name. Then it prompts them to put in use their cell phone number as their password, an easy password. So what happens immediately, it goes through a verification process, and it'll come back and say, this person has 2 stars. So that means they're kind of actively in the market, right? It's letting you know their temperature, if you will. It's pretty amazing. You know, I've been jonesing to get my hands on this stuff for like weeks and months, but it's playing out pretty nice. Now it's going to be a learning curve, right? Yes.
Do you think that'll replace First IO?
Yes.
Oh,
So I don't know. That's my opinion, you know. Again, I'm going to be more working on one CRM, not 2 CRMs or 3 or 4 like I have now, right? So that's what I'm hoping.
And, it may not fully replace, it may just, include that integration. That's another great thing about the Max Tech platform with the partnership with kvCORE is, again, they're plugging in all these other pieces that we already have, taking the best things and, enhancing, and the things that weren't so great, we're just getting better versions. So it's all good stuff.
And then the open house. So this is actually going to be on your tablet or on your phone. It's going to just be another integration that goes in with Max Tech powered by kvCORE. People are able to sign up for open houses, sign everything in, and then you get all that information. So instead of needing a list at an open house, you can now use this, capture more leads, capture some vetted information, a little bit more official than, having a little paper that people can sign in for.
Yeah. And again, like everything else, automation behind it, right? Once it plugs into your system, they're going to, be able to get additional information on that property specifically. Then they'll interact with it. They can build out more, get additional alerts. You will see all that happening. So again, it just builds that much more interaction. And I'll just mention one thing I noted on the FAQ on it that I thought was great because I've heard this from some of you. This works in offline mode as well. So if you don't have a hotspot out there that's working, or if you're out in a rural area or something like that, you can still use this. People can sign in. And then when it's got a connection again, it uploads everything directly into your CRM. You don't have to double input, those kind of things. So again, these little integrations, I think they're fantastic.
But one thing real quick, when you in English,
If there's no internet at your open house, you can use your app. And then once there's internet, it will upload everything and you'll get all the information that you would had if there was internet.
yeah. So on this type of an app, it does hashtags, right? So if you have an open house at 123 Elm Street, they log in, it's going to tag them as a hashtag as 123 Elm Street. There's some cool stuff in here. I don't know if we're going to cover it, but when you're on your listing, all your listed, the whole MLS is in here. The entire MLS is in kvCORE. So when you have a listing, there's a button that says similar homes. So let's say you call in, we're having a conversation, you're calling on my listing. I can hit a button, similar homes. Now there's 3 or 4 other homes too that I can show you that are very similar to this. Then there's another button that says homes nearby, right? It's pretty cool. Every MLS house is inside kvCORE with all the photos and all the information. Roads. Send from there. Yeah. And I will tell you, don't use Armless because you give all the Google juice to Armless. Use our apps, gives all the Google juice to our apps or your pages, right? Send them through your system. Don't use a third-party system.
Absolutely. And then again, here's just some more of the lead engine options. I've mentioned the call and text capture. There's virtual open houses that you can lead. You can core property boost is going to work similar to Megaphone as of right now. You can boost properties. It's going to advertise it over a larger area. You can create unlimited landing pages. So if you've got a drive coming up, your blood drive coming up, you can create a landing page for your blood drive that'll capture leads. You can do this with anything that you guys choose to. Any other drives that you've got coming up, if you want to create a landing page just for a specific open house, you could. You won't have to because there's already going to be all the other ones that are created for you. But it's just another funnel that you're able to capture leads down through. So again, there's a myriad of options. And I mentioned some of the sidebar right here earlier. So this is actually what the platform looks like, and everything on the left-hand side are all your different menu options. We talked about support and training. It's right there. You just click a single button and there's an option to either talk to somebody and schedule something live or watch a video. And from there, everything kind of opens up. Nate?
I was just going to say it's after 10 now. So if you have no need to be in kvCORE today and you don't want to stay and listen, we're not going to be upset if you walk out. But the rest of the time, we're just going to stay into the kvCORE mode. And because we have quite a few more slides to go through and then just have open discussion afterward.
Cool. Oh,
Good. Nobody
captive audience. Thank you. All right. As we mentioned, you can start today. I specifically sent out that email so that everybody can get started. So again, you were able to go and click into that tile before on Max Center, but with the official email that you should have all gotten, if you follow that, it's really simple. Yes, Cindy. Yes. Oh, good question. So nothing Bouge or Megaphone or anything has, and actually, sorry, for those online, Cindy asked if you still needed to make a flyer, if you could go to any of the old locations, or if you had to go in here since it's now live. Nothing has disappeared yet. Bouge is not gone. Any of that you have in there is not gone. If you get a new lead into Bouge or anything like that, it's going to be sent over to kvCORE. So your contacts and your CRM have moved over there, but you can still access everything. You do not have to go in this today or tomorrow to go make a flyer. You can still go into Megaphone and go grab one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So all the various property boosts and all that type of stuff has pre-made settings out to it and all that, and a bunch of pre-made advertising, but you are still able to go into any of the old programs. They're still active and live at least for another probably year or so as they get the transition going. Because again, we're still one of the first ones in the country to get this. So everybody else is still on. So they're not getting rid of anything quite yet.
And to a related point there, it has been very smooth so far. And as you guys just both mentioned, they've been also very, very responsive when we have had questions or challenge or anything like that, very collaborative. So that's been great. So if you do notice though, if you're in Max Tech and, you know, maybe there's notes missing on some of your clients, or like if there's just something weird, like don't be too concerned. Again, all of that stuff is there. Nothing is gone. And so again, if you see something like that, you got any kind of concern, don't let your blood pressure go up. You just like mention it and it's all there. It's still accessible. It can be merged, etc. So that's another plus of having them both available. If we do run into anything, real easy to move right past it.
If you guys can allow him to go through the whole presentation and save the questions for the end, he's got a lot of rapid fire stuff coming.
Yes. So here's some quick steps to get started. As I mentioned, I already sent the email out. That's a great way to follow it. Just click it, follow the links on it. It's going to get you through to your profile. It'll get you through to everything set up, and it'll get you started within the program. Again, you can also go to it via Max Center. You can just click a tile. There's two of them. There's Max Tech powered by kvCORE, and then there's Max Tech powered by kvCORE updates. The updates one is going to be very similar to the Remax news and then tech news updates. So if you want to check it out, you can, but the main one you're going to use is that Max Tech powered by kvCORE. And again, that's what it's going to look like. And then, as we mentioned, there's a checklist. So if you'll recall, when I had it up on the screen earlier, there was on the left-hand side was your menus. At the very bottom, there's actually going to be an agent launch checklist. You'll follow through each individualized step, and then there's going to be somebody that's going to be able to help you with it the whole way, and it'll get you all started. It does everything from it shows you where your CRM's at. It kind of gets you started on the platform, and then you're just off to the races afterwards. There's still more learning that you can do after that, but it's a great launch checklist. We all went through it just to get the brokerage going. And then, as you say, when you log in, you're going to get a prompt video. It'll say welcome. You can go ahead and follow that, and it'll take you to your launch checklist. Again, they do try to walk you through everything every step of the way. Here's that checklist that we mentioned. So you'll complete your profile, get the apps, personalize stuff. Again, you don't have to do it right off the bat. It'll just show you where to do it so you have access to it. And then from there, it'll show you how to access everything, show you where you can go with it, complete the setup for it, and then you're off to the races. Again, I mentioned that there is a lot more support and a lot more trainings because we know how robust of a program it is. And I mentioned that support and training option. So there's everything from a learning portal to it, to Remax University, to an ability to talk with people that you can actually bring up, and you can send them an email. You can find a phone number and we'll get back to you. And they are very helpful.
I think, can you go back to the checklist for a minute?
Sure.
Each one of these items here, there's a whole training per checklist. So when you click on that, it's going to bring you to a video, welcome, some training, a little test, like, did you understand what we said? You know, but it's real easy. They're all, these videos are like a 60 seconds,
yeah, they're like a
90
minute.
seconds.
Yeah, they're like a minute or two.
And they kind of walk you through it. And what I've been telling people, you're going to learn more with your computer screen and their tutorials. Like an intimate relationship is what I want you to have with kvCORE. Don't wait next week for the class to learn something. Get in there and start following the tutorials.
And anybody that's taken any of my classes knows my favorite advice for anything, especially a robust new program like this. Treat it like the gym. go poke around, have a goal, maybe go in here, start your checklist, play around for a little bit, and then go away from it. You don't want to go down an 8-hour rabbit hole and then never want to go back into the program. That doesn't help anybody. You don't go to the gym from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You'll just kill yourself and never go back. And we mentioned the support. And that's it. Welcome to the mastermind. Cool. So should we plug it in? I don't think anybody's leaving. It doesn't look like. Yeah, go right ahead.
For next week,
Mhm.
like they're.
Yeah.
So I must have, just going through the videos, they signed me up for 2 classes back to back.
Nice.
So that's probably what you're doing. I mean,
I'm doing all those. Yeah. I've
Okay.
been on like every class, all kinds of stuff. So
Okay.
yours, they break theirs down. You can sign up for just lead classes from them that are just a half hour of them going over leads. They have open office hours every day from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. that you can just pop in and ask any questions that you want. They have agent specific stuff. They have marketing specific ones. So you probably went through part of the checklist and then
yeah,
Did
they
you
just
go-
signed me up automatically.
and it signed you up for use of the marketing one.
Yeah.
So all that's going to probably do is show you how to do your smart CRM and your smart campaigns. But
Okay.
that's a great one because it'll just dive on that one component.
Okay.
So yeah, there's and just a ton of different trainings and a ton of information.
Let me give you an example how a lead comes through, right? So when a lead comes through, Nate was just telling me that he has a client that came in from Bouge. He looked at the client. The verification went in to verify his email, his phone number. It pulled up his name. It pulled up his place, his type of occupation. It pulled up his employer. Okay. So think about Big Brother. So when you get a verification, you're getting more stuff. There's opportunities for you to go into their Facebook and LinkedIn or whatever to do and put their links in there if you want. It is a very intuitive program. I'm very impressed in the just couple days that I've been playing with it. Just with as some of the leads are coming through, I type the lady's name in just to test it. So I put the first person in before Bouge imported. Within a few seconds, it goes bing, says 2 stars. This person is somewhat active. We're not too sure how active they are, but better than no stars, right? And then it verified her phone number, email. Then it turned the little thing up at the left-hand corner is green with the check. So that's a verified lead. So we never really had anything like that to verify leads coming in before. That's pretty cool. And that's why their concept of trying to get the email and the phone number without asking for the name that you would get Mickey Mouse. With those 2 pieces of information, they go out to the internet and suck down and verify who that person is. Doesn't
Well-
happen all the time, but you know,
Plus,
Pretty
of course,
cool.
they're connected to all the other marketing cookies and everything else from the platform they're using, and again, like Nate said, it just takes every piece it can find in the most, inobtrusive way for them to provide it and then runs with it. And, Danielle, what you were just saying about how you looked at some information and then it's like, here, you're signed up for these classes. That's kind of what happens on the client side as well. It's different than a lot of other systems. It's not even like asking people, would you like more information? Or what price points would you like in your, it's like, it gives it to them. Oh, here's stuff. And then it's super easy for them to tweak it or say, I don't want that, but it's basically kind of opting them in. And so the engagement is like so much higher than most of the other systems we've seen because it just, kind of keeps going. It's kind of like on social, how you can infinitely scroll, like same sort of thing. They'll keep them infinitely in your real estate sphere. Yeah, there's behavioral automation, stuff like that too. I mean, that's all amazing stuff.
yeah,
Alex
that's-
go over.
Alex, do you want to put it up live?
Sure. And I
Okay.
was actually going to ask that.
What questions you guys have while he's getting it live? No. Yes. Okay, yeah, so you can import everything from anywhere. So what you have to do is you have to export your current database into a CVS file, and then you can have it imported. Now, they will help you do it, right? They're not going to help you go into your other software and download it. They'll tell you what to do. But once you get it, they have the ability to go ahead and take that and load it up for you. I believe you can also load it up yourself, right? So it was interesting. I had 6,000 names appear in my database yesterday. for my old booze system. So it's going to take some time. I had to go in there and kind of clean it up a little bit, if you will. Yes, Sandra. Yeah, you press a button, says add a lead, and asks what's their name, what's their email, and there's all kinds of fields you can fill out. So it has the places for their birthdays, their home anniversary. What's interesting, we found that because I have a lot of wedding anniversaries, there was not a spot in their CRM for a wedding anniversary. So that's maybe something they can add. But it's pretty intense. So this looks like it's the where'd Alex go? This is the web page. This is the generic web page. We haven't done nothing to this yet. And this is where the landing page is for RE/MAX professionals. There's a system called the smart number. If you call the smart number, it's not going to know what to do with you because you're already in the system.